What's going on? How's everyone doing today? Give me 1 second. I got to get set up with my second device. All right, we got a lot to talk about. We got a fight card started. The fight card's already started, but it's going to start streaming on Dezurn in 2 hours. I know the undercard started. I'll bring up the results. We got to talk about, obviously, the card yesterday. Two cards, the card in the UK and the card in Vegas. I'll be all yours in a second. Share another. And this is another Monday morning that we have fight cards. Kind of because I'm in Sydney, I've already coached 3 different clients. I've already trained myself. And it's kind of like the best sport in the world. I get boxing almost every single day. So we'll take a look at what just happened. We'll take a look at what's in front of us. If you're in the Discord, if you're in the Patreon, and if you're JSB Insider on YouTube, we have 4 tickets that are live. The very first 2 tickets we put out last Tuesday are still live. Our short parlay, we need Clarissa on the money line to hit our short parlay. And then our method of victory parlay, we need Clarissa on points. Hopefully Dezurn's ankle is good enough. And I figure going into and those were the first 2 bets we posted. They're still live. They're both plus money. And I gave you guys a 2-leg multi as well for the fights that are happening on the undercard of Clarissa, the Atif Oberton fight, and then the Shea Keneally fight. So those are up on YouTube. Those are up in the Patreon. And in the Discord, I gave you the long parlay. There's a long parlay. We'll see if it's still live. Hopefully, fingers crossed it's still live. That is just the Salida Promotions card. So all in all, fingers crossed, if we play our cards right, at the end of this Salida card, we could have 5 winners. So I do want to talk about the Ryan Garcia fight. Shout out to Ryan. I want to address the elephant in the room. And we'll talk. Give me about 5 minutes, and I'll do a rundown of the Ryan Garcia card. I want to start with Ryan. I want to give my kudos to Ryan Garcia. Hats off to the 27-year-old world champion. Fought a great fight. Hey man, he learned how to use his right hand. Say what you will about Barrios, rather than hating on Barrios, rather than he was obviously my one. We hit 2 underdogs. We hit the one in the UK with Bilal Fawaz. Bilal Fawaz continues to just pay us, by the way. We'll talk about that later. But we obviously took Mario Barrios as a 3-1 dog. He didn't win anything. He didn't win any rounds. Ryan beat him everywhere. Speed kills. And, I heard one of the boys last week say Ryan Garcia is on the no bet list. Which Ryan Garcia are you going to get? And, it's good to see the 27-year-old put it all together. You know what I mean? Just because I bet against him and I lost, the longer you're in this game, you guys should learn to bet without emotion. I had people in our Discord, like we've been up weeks and weeks and months in a row, and we lose one underdog fight in the Discord, like a couple guys had to get put on timeout, calling each other awful names because of a fight, because a 27-year-old kid wins a fight, you're going to have a meltdown. Like, that's a sign that you probably shouldn't be betting. I'm not doing this. My whole goal of this was never to create degenerates. That the betting is an outcome of our favorite sport, okay? Just keep that in mind, please. If you're a grown man and you find yourself calling a 27-year-old kid derogatory names that you've never met him because you lost a bet, you need to look in the mirror, man. That's not why we do this. So anyway, Mario, we'll see where Barrios goes from here. He's just everything that everything that happened with Mario Barrios was what the Ryan Garcia fans said was going to happen. Look, we don't always get it right. I felt like playing the Barrios at plus 275 initially was a great play. You win some, you lose some, you move on, and we're going to move on. And I did hit a Ryan Garcia ticket though. I'll cover the tickets that we hit on Instagram. If you guys access to me on Instagram, you know that you could call me. I don't even charge for this. I should charge. I should do a sneaky live call-in subscription. But I gave you boys Ryan Garcia and Mario Barrios the over at 5.5 that hit. And then Gary Antoine Russell on the money line that hit. And then the draw voided the ticket. The draw voided the Frank Martin fight, but it still came back 58% return. Respectful on Albright. And when Frank, the thing is with Frank Martin, when he looks good, when he has his moments, his flurries, he looks world class. But I think with Frank is something that Shakur said at the end of the fight. Shakur said he just doesn't feel Frank Martin is a 12-round fighter. Make what you will of that. Maybe it's a conditioning thing. Maybe Nahir Albright just better than a lot of people thought. I mean, we knew that he was going to be tough. Everybody in boxing knew that that was more like a 50-50 fight. If you're in Australia and you use Bet365, the draw would have kept the long parlay live. And wherever you are else in the world, other than using Sportsbet, the draw would have kept your parlay live. It would have been a push. Now, in my book, Sportsbet, the draw ruined my long parlay. It happens. Okay. I shout out to Nahir Albright. Shout out to Nahir Albright being a singer. I had no idea he had some pipes singing some Boys to Men. But this is why Boys to Men was a 4-piece. Come on, Nahir, you can't be singing the falsetto and the harmonies all in one. That's why there were 4 guys in the band. You can't do it all. He sounded good at the beginning, but then go to Timothy Bradley's Insta. He kind of cooked Albright for trying to sing the falsetto. But I mean, he's not Wanye. You know, there's only one Wanye Morris, you know. So shout out to Nahir Albright. I think I owe everyone an apology. Look, I don't know where I stand with Gary Antoine Russell now. It's the beautiful part about our sport. Like, you don't know, was Andy Hiroka that good? It seemed like Gary Antoine Russell struggled where I thought he was going to succeed. Like, the adjustment Hiroka made in like the 4th or 5th round to bring the fight inside was the adjustment I thought that was going to favor Gary. But man, Gary struggled with Hiroka's size. On the inside, Gary struggled with Hiroka's body punching. Now, I gave Russell the win by 2 rounds. Very close fight, though. Very close fight. And it looked like Russell's power wasn't affecting Andy at all. Make what you will of that, you know, and Russell looks small. I know, you know, I don't know. Does he stay at 140? You guys realize it's the first fight he's ever weighed in at 140, fighting at 140. He usually weighs in at 137, 138. I mean, could he make 135? Would that make a difference? I don't know. You don't really see guys going down. You only see guys going up. So we'll see with Gary Antoine Russell. Like, I definitely thought I thought he was going to have a better performance. I thought he was going to shine. And you just never know because styles make fights. You get a 5'11", and I definitely don't think Russell's 5'10". I think his box record, he doesn't look 5'10". Russell might be 5'8.5", 5'9", because Hiroka looked like he was at least 2 inches taller than him, and Hiroka's listed at 5'11". He got the win. We got the win. We're up. What else on that card? Let me pull it up. This is Oscar shadowboxing. Okay, so that was a 2-leg. This was a live bet I did. That's just UFC. We hit a plus 552 on the UFC there. Jordan Levitt at plus 338 on the money line, and JBL at $1.49. Yeah, missed on the Jocelyn Edwards by points. I went heavy on that one too. I got burned on that one. Jocelyn Edwards. This was a live MMA bet I did. She, you know, a nasty, nasty shoulder collarbone injury. Would you make it Josh Edwards fighting this guy? This guy said he's 29. He looks like he's 50. He hung in there with him though. Edwards is still really green. He'll learn. Muhammad Al-Khel, nasty body rip. We hit on this. We took Beck by stoppage. That went our way. Not here. Frank. This is the life of a gambler. When you got one device streaming here, you got the other device streaming there. I'm sure you guys all do the same thing. Guys, wherever you are in the world, could you like this video? Also, join our Discord. We're approaching 400 JSB Insiders. Our world-famous Discord, baby. Let's go. It's a couple bucks a month. You can either get into the Discord by YouTube or you get access on Patreon. It's a couple bucks a month. Whichever way you enter, say what's up. I'm not mad at this draw at all. I mean, look, we had a saying growing up, and I brought this up. I brought this up on the channel before. When a fight is 50-50 going into the last round, I've always given the fight to the guy who wins the last round. And my coach used to call this the schoolyard theory. So the schoolyard theory was, if you grew up like me, you got into a lot of fights at recess, you got a lot of fights at lunch, all the time. Like I thought it was normal to set fights up. I would set fights up when I was 9 and 10 years old between like Eric and Joseph, Christian and David. Like we would set fights up, and at recess we knew who we had to fight. We're like 8, 9, 10 years old. And so you could be winning the whole fight in the playground, but then maybe you get tripped, maybe you get taken down, and you end up on your back, and then the teacher breaks it up, or it gets broken up. Whoever's on their back at the end when it gets broken up, going back to class, lost the fight, and you get clowned for it. So, like, with that in mind, that's kind of how I score close fights, especially the last round. Whoever wins the last round, I usually give to. I'm glad the judges called it a draw, but I got to be honest with you. I took Frank to win that fight. Frank faded. Nair Albright's a whole dog. Won the last round. I would have given it to Wu. Where does Frank go from it? We'll see. But Frank is frustrating, man. Because when he shines, he's definitely a front runner guy. Like when he's cooking, he's cooking. He looks good. His hand speed. You can see why people have a lot of praise for Frank Martin. But when he starts fading, I don't know what it. Maybe he's not doing enough conditioning. Maybe he's not doing enough road work. Maybe he's doing too much powerlifting. Maybe he's not doing enough rope. I don't have these answers. Once again, he's in good hands. He's 1-0-1 with Bud. We'll see if he stays with McGirt. He should stay with McGirt. Good gameplay. And Frank's a dog. He with a lot of. And what was Nahir doing? Spitting his mouthpiece out though. Like it was interesting, man. Nahir was almost like biting his own work a bit in that last round. He had Frank hurt and was spitting his mouthpiece out. Interesting. Damn, Ryan, look good, boy. Ryan, look. I'm here for this though. Bud and EJ with a little moment. All right, I'm not gonna say. All right, I ain't one to gossip. Give me 1 second. Let me remove this. All right, let me add that back. All right. I ain't one to gossip. We say this in the 90s, so you didn't hear this from me. But what were the odds paying for there to be a knockdown in the first 30 seconds in the Garcia Barrios fight? Now, Garcia got beat, or Barrios got beat pillar to post. All I'm saying is there's a lot of guys in our Discord who will do punch prop plays. They'll do like total punches, over under 100 punches, the most jabs, etc. My book doesn't have those props. So, but my book does have this prop. Will fighter be knocked down in the first 30 seconds? So if my book has that prop, which sounds pretty obscure to me, I assume that all the books have that prop. So what I'm asking is, what was that paying? Because Garcia knocks Barrios down with a decent combo up top with his right hand. He then drops to the body, and then he throws like a bolo punch, and Garcia's eyes don't even roll back. Mario's eyes don't even roll back. His eyes stay open, and he just drops. The first 20 seconds of the fight, gets a knockdown. I ain't one to gossip, but that, to me, and then he doesn't get another knockdown the rest of the fight, doesn't really push for the stoppage. What was I wish that as fans we had access, or there was a database to like the global betting tickets, and then we could have like a database who won the most, what props hit the most, what were the biggest bets on said props. I guarantee people became millionaires off of that prop. Somebody became really, really, really wealthy, I guarantee, on will there be a knockdown in the first 30 seconds. And it happened. And it looked weird to me. It just looked odd to me. Barrios comes out like this and then fall on. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to leave it at that. Dominated. dump, belt to ass, 12 round. Hold on, I gotta give a message too. This is for the boys in the Discord. Well, I think I already covered this, but if you guys are getting people are because Ryan won the way he won, which he was supposed to win, which he was the favorite. Now, granted, I picked him to lose, but that's just me. Having a mental breakdown over a lost bet, I don't know if we don't need you guys on the squad. Like, if you're gonna have a mental breakdown over a lost bet, now I don't know if you guys are trolling or if this is really you have, but there was some of the boys in the Discord who were saying some awful things. Just watch, carry yourself to a stand. And I looked at your profiles, you guys who were saying you use your full name. I have your you guys. We know your full name is public, and you're saying really outrageous, awful things about people. Like those aren't sort of guys I like. I so associate myself with. So it's only a couple bucks a month to join. For me, it's no problem kicking you out for your ethics. And that's under the rules. Read the rules when you enter my Discord. I say that. There aren't many rules. One of the main rules, no hate speech. Like, what are we doing here, guys? This will be a chat we'll have in the upcoming weeks, obviously. This is an important, the champs. We'll get into all that. It's a chat we're going to have. But look, the storyline, Devin versus Ryan 2 at 147. That's the storyline. Or Shakur. Chrissy. What's up, Chrissy? All right, we're okay. So to recap. All right, so I gave the boys this ticket. This was, and if you let me zoom in. So I don't know how other Discords operate. I don't know how other guys who do what I do operate. Like I know like on Instagram, there's some guys with like millions of followers. The one thing that you could always check with my tickets, we placed that bet last Tuesday. And that was the first bet I placed. And so we hit on Sandy on points. We hit on Ishmael Davis and Bilal twice. The fight to go the distance and then Bilal on the money line. We just need Clarissa. I just hope that Dezurn's ankle, because she got beat, like she got jumped yesterday during the weigh-ins. Like, what the hell's going on in Detroit? It's so cold in the D. How the fuck is we supposed to keep peace? And this one was paying plus money, so plus 104. We need Clarissa on points. And then the second one, we put in on. So the very first, I'm an instinct guy. The very first two tickets I gave you boys are the two that are still alive. I gave you boys this last Tuesday, which would have been your Monday if you're in America. And we hit with Sandy Ryan, Beck the Bully, Hitchens got voided, GAR. We need Clarissa on the money line. This pays plus money. So 2 plus money tickets are still live. If you played my long parlay and you used the book, any book other than sports bet, you should still be live. Because the draw on my book canceled it, but the draw on your book should push. So this is what I call a little JSB insider heavy action. I get a lot of phone calls, a lot of messages, and I try to get back to everybody, guys. But I gave one of the boys, I'll keep him anonymous. He doesn't need to put me on, I don't need to put him on blast. But he hits me up. He's like, bro, man, you got anything last second? This was my last second heavy parlay. Thank God his book pushed the draw. But we hit with the over on Garcia and Barrios, over 5.5, and we hit on GAR on the money line. So that hit.
You know what I mean? I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something.
And that's exactly my mindset going into every boxing card. We're gonna leave with something. We're gonna find a victory. We find victories out here. We're archaeologists. We're gonna dig our way to find victories. So that is 20 minutes in. We got a lot to talk about though. That was just, we didn't even talk about the UK card. We hit Dave Allen by knockout. We hit Bilal Fawaz on the money line. We hit Sandy Ryan on points. So depending on how you piece it all together, you should be up. And I told you, I only had one play. I had personally one play on Barrios. That was just Barrios on the money line as the dog. We lost, obviously. I lost the Gary Antoine Russell by knockout. That was a prop I lost. And then the UFC, I went 50-50. God damn it. Udos Medic looked great. And we hit that at plus money. But then Chitty Chitty Bang Bang lost a close decision. These are the breaks, boys. These are the breaks. And then this is to get your money. And I don't need to play you that. That's a sneaky set of 20 pull-ups. So, yeah. And we're going to pull up this book real quick. Guys, wherever you are, we're floating between 60 and 80 on a Monday morning. Could you please like this video, hit subscribe, let me know how you're doing. We're going to talk about the fights that already started in Detroit. And then we're going to talk about the action that I gave you guys. We have 4 tickets that are live going into Detroit. Hopefully they're still live. Yep, they're still live. All right, and here we go. I'm going to start saying what's up. I'm sure this will be fun. Hey, bro, just joined. We got you in there. L Points, what's up, buddy? Yeah, your boy. I feel Ryan is different. I felt that when he beat my favorite fighter, Devin. He was on drugs, though, brother. He was on drugs. It's tough for me to get past that. He was on drugs. He didn't beat Devin. He was enhanced. So whoever says, and they're called performance enhancing drugs. Now, Ryan already knows how to box. He's been boxing since he was a little kid. But you know what the performance enhancing drugs do to you? It gives you an endless gas tank. It boosts your psychology. It allows you to take risks you wouldn't really risk. You'd be more durable. You'd have more power. You'd have more speed. So when you're already a world-class fighter, of course PEDs enhance your game. That's why they're illegal. Whoever says PEDs don't enhance their game, they're not an athlete. That's why they're illegal. So I had to throw that away because what did he look like against Raleigh? He looked horrible against Raleigh. And now he looks great against Mario. And it's like, what do we do with Ryan? I mean, what do you do with Ryan? He's in terms of betting. I'm still not like stoked to bet on him. So it's a weird thing, man. I'm happy that he's become a world champion. A kid who's that talented, devoted his whole life to the game. I don't have to like him. You know, he doesn't. He's a 27-year-old athlete. We don't have to like people, but you should give credit when credit's due. And he's a world champion, and no one will ever take that away from him. And so shout out to his dad too. I know his dad put his whole life into this. So it's good to see, man. It is good to see. Hopefully, I want to see Ryan just keep it all locked in for the next 10 years of his career. We'll see if it happens. High. Go through my YouTube. Very high. Percentage is high. Very. I almost hit Tacone Ramos. Bro. Close fight. But Mike Ross, what do they say about almosts? There's only 2 almost. Horseshoes and hand grenades. What up, Johnny? Did Samantha Worthington fight? Let me check, big dog. I was at the park one day. That's when I saw her face. She looked kind of catty to me. That's when I'll take her home. Tap that ass, I'm gone. I'm just a dog, don't blame me. All right, guys, we have 3 victories on the Detroit card so far. This is for the boys who are keeping track. Jaquan McElroy won a UD. Savannah Teeny won a UD. Chanel Butler beat Danila Ramos, won a UD. So Samantha Worthington hasn't fought yet. Atif Oberlton hasn't fought yet. And Shea Keneally haven't fought yet. Price Taylor has not fought yet. King Ty in the house. A lot better than Ryan fight. Yeah. And guys, that is something. If somebody were like, Johnny, sell me on your Discord. Why would I join the Discord? Well, the Discord is a community. If you want all my picks, you sign up on YouTube or you sign up on Patreon, and you don't. And if you, because some guys are like, I don't care about the community aspect. I just want to see who your picks are. Boom. But whatever one you join, you get access to the community. It's not just boxing, it's all pro sports. But more importantly, like King Ty just said, live betting. This dude, I'm not a finished product by no means. This is all a learning experience for me as well. I make adjustments through wins and losses as well. I just told you about a very eye-opening adjustment for me moving forward is that the instinctual component of my first few bets. I got greedy in giving away 6 parlays. Why would I, like, who's giving away 6 was way too much. I need to put a boundary on how many tickets I do, but when we have so much action, you get big-eyed. And the week before we hit 6 tickets, the week before that we hit 5 tickets. I'm giving you guys 5. I mean, I don't know how many, maybe everyone's doing that. I'm not sure, maybe. And if you want to see the receipts, they're all on my YouTube. I post everything. So it's not like we're just saying who's winning. We're showing you the tickets before the fights happen, and we're winning, right? And so if things go our way today, we have an opportunity to win 5 tickets. Now, the adjustments I'm going to make those, when you look at the 2 tickets that are still live right now, I put those in early last week. Those were my short parlay and my method of victory instincts. Like, I watch tape. I know these fighters. Boom, 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 boom. Granted, we don't get props until later in the week, but as that week goes, you start doing tape, and sometimes you could be a victim of too much tape watching. And for me, my victim was I bet with my heart against Ryan. And I called some of the boys in our Instagram group, and I said that. I was like, look, I know that I because I'm a coach, I don't care if somebody's a 40-1 underdog. You could kind of, both guys, you could see a path to victory. That path to victory might be a 40-1 long shot, but you're telling me there's a chance. So once again, I became a victim to my own philosophy. My dad always said, bet with your wallet, not with your heart. A guy, being a lifelong athlete like myself, somebody that my clients pay me to guide them along their health and wellness lifelong journey. I have clients who are, I have clients who fought in the UFC. I have clients who are pro boxers. I have amateur clients who are trying to become pro boxers, and I'm their strength and conditioning coach. So when I see a guy who gets caught cheating, I'm not a cheater. I'm not a liar. These are my own, we all have our own moral compass. Like in my friendships, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to cheat on you. I'm not going to steal from you. So my moral compass sometimes doesn't serve me when I'm making my bets. And in this case, Ryan Garcia getting all effed up, getting arrested, popping for PEDs against Dev. That's me projecting my own moral compass on why I thought he was going to lose. Blinded me. This motherfucker is 27, fast as hell. I knew all that, but I still was allowing my own ethical moral compass to misguide me with the pick. I mean, Mario was a dog for a reason. We don't have to talk too much about that. I just like using these live streams when we win and lose so you guys could just at least understand how I operate, because that's what you want. And I told all the boys in the Discord, when I give you my tickets, these are my picks. You don't have to follow me. I never say follow me. If anything, I like when you guys tell me, hey, Johnny, I listened to you here, but I didn't listen to you here, and I won because then I'm like, dude, amazing. Oh, God. Warrington and Wood. Look, I think I told PJ Hunnit on our Patreon during our Patreon members-only live stream that the UK bets were all half unit, and this was another value play. Warrington, I don't know if he announced it. He should retire. Lee Wood should retire. That style, not being able to get past Lee Wood's guard with his hands down. And Josh, he looked determined, but he just had nothing left in the tank. That was a hard fight to watch. And, another mistake I made. I broke my own rule. Never put more than one dog on one ticket. And, I left empty-handed with the Bilal Fawaz victory because I put Bilal Fawaz and Josh on the same ticket. I never do that. I got greedy. I saw the odds. If I would have just taken Bilal, it would have been plus 250. But I threw Josh on there, and it was plus 570, and I got greedy. These are adjustments, guys, and sometimes I break my own rules. So hold me accountable in future live streams or in future tickets, and you see me add in multiple dogs, be like, Johnny, what are you doing? You said you never put more than one dog on one part. So, look, it's a learning curve for me as well, the strategy of betting. I know the game. And I don't know everything in the game. I'm going to keep getting better, though, by the way. We're just getting started. This is my mindset on everything in life. You see us in a year. Wait till you see us in 2 years. I'm just getting started. So I'm going to continue to learn. I'm going to continue to, just get better and better and better, because the word of 2026 is what? Value. Can't hang around but hit the like every week. I appreciate you, King. People need to take self-responsibility with betting, even if you follow someone specific. Yeah, John, 100%, brother. Guys, could you like this video? Yeah, teenager, Tia Ayton. I drank the Kool-Aid. Drank the Kool-Aid. You got Katie Taylor going on record saying Tia Ayton is the next coming. Warrington was stuck, man. Martin ran out of juice. Yeah, he just. But when if you know what, PJ, I bet you this is kind of like why you have to pay attention where you put your money, because if you wanted to, you could take Frank Martin's highlights from last night and clip them into maybe like a 45-second reel, and you'd be like, this dude dominated. Because when he looked good, he looked great. And this is what some coaches will call front running. This is what front running means. They'll have these moments of shine. But then when, he didn't look good. He looked pretty ordinary in the clinch, especially when he was hurt. Reaching with both. I thought Nahir was going to knock him out, especially when you get hurt and wobbled. I'm talking technically and what you train for. Now, maybe he doesn't train to get hurt. I came from a gym growing up where we would train to act when you would get hurt. So you would train how to lock up. You would train how to clinch up. You would train how to hug. You know what I mean? Even Bilal Fawaz, when he was in the clinch, he looked really uncomfortable. I've never seen anyone grab like this. Bilal Fawaz was grabbing Ishmael Davis around his head, and I was like, what the hell? But it just comes down to, I don't think there's only a few fighters who are finished products. And this is the beautiful thing about us as fans, is we get to watch in real time fighters evolve or fighters regress. And so I came from a gym as a kid where you would learn how to clinch after you were wobbled or after you would get hurt. And I remember watching video of a former UFC champion, not Shogun, the kid, God damn it, my memory. He was he was the first Japanese world champion. And he was Japanese Brazilian. Not Shogun, not Vitor Belfort. I'd always get mixed up with all three. John Jones knocked him out. Lyoto Machida. So I remember back in the day watching videos of Lyoto Machida training, getting clipped. So he would have his back on the octagon, and they would do sequences of, once you get clipped and you would crumble against the cage, how to survive. So with that in mind, when I'm watching all fights, you kind of keep that in mind. Like when you're doing film study, you see a guy and you watch him get clipped, it's something to look at. Be like, how is he reacting when he gets hurt? How does he react when he has to clinch? How does he react like when he has to survive? Some guys could do it, some guys can't. I thought we saw Frank doing the cardinal sin of getting rocked, is straight arming. When you start straight arm, boom, lights out usually. So there's a lot to work on. We'll see. He has a lot of upside. Interesting fight. When's the last time we saw a unanimous draw as well? Hiroko was holding the. Yeah, Hiroko was craftier than I thought he was going to be too, though. Gary, he was frustrating last night. I don't know. See, this is the thing, PJ. When we're doing this from a non-opinionated perspective, when we're doing it from the fight fan eye, like, we're fans of boxing. We're not fans of I'm not fans of fighters. This is why, like, when I pick underdogs and they win, I'm equally as uncomfortable getting flowers. Like we won. Okay, let's move on. But when we lose, people are misguided, I think, in the comments, thinking that I picked Mario because I'm a fan of Mario. We are a boxing site. We are a fan of the sport. So with that in mind, we should all be able to look at each fighter and dissect them individually, whether they win or whether they lose. With Gary Russell, I'm taking a step back from that one. I thought this was going to be a performance of his that he was going to elevate. And I'm going to just pump the brakes a bit. I need to see more to see if I really think he's going to be the guy that I thought he was going to be. But then again, how much of that was maybe Andy Hiroka's that good? Because I only had Russell winning by 2 rounds. Hiroka was doing what he was wanted to do, mid to late rounds. GAR still GR. Yeah, dude. Okay. Right. I need that. That's why the game is the best sport on earth. It's crazy that we get to see blood like warriors, modern day gladiators, devote their entire life to train for hand-to-hand combat, and then we get to watch. You know, that's why you'll never hear me make fun of a fighter ever. Hiroka did well and stop. Oh yeah, I agree. Do you think we should have left Bilal? Yeah, PJ, and I know you just joined our Discord in the last few weeks. I normally will only put the dog by himself. You know what I mean? I never put dogs on the same ticket. I talk about that. I got greedy, and I think it was because I knew it was a half unit bet. I got greedy, but I still need to stick to my guns, or else I'll be confusing everybody. You know, even though, and I did, you know, the UK cards for me are generally half unit bets. If you're $1,000 better, bet 500. If you're $100 better, bet $50. Easy math. But I should have stuck to my guns. I should have just did 2 separate dog bets, Bilal, and I usually do that. It got really messy in the Discord yesterday. People abusing each other. Like that. I know, man. I know, and I was out because it was Sunday afternoon. I was with my girl, and when I checked it, I kind of handled it as I could handle it. But then again, guys, I don't like gatekeeping. I don't like micromanaging. We've done a really good job though, filtering out those sort of types, and I think it will happen. We got almost 400 savages in there. Whenever you get a group of 400 savages, you're gonna have some bad apples. You know what I mean? In order to bet money on boxing and know this sport, you gotta be a savage. I'm not. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to be. You don't. I don't care if you've ever fought before. But if you like boxing, I like you. That's as simple as that. If you got love for boxing, I got love for you. We could find our common ground. Boxing was my first love. My dad walked my little ass into a gym when I was 7. So if you got love for the sport, I got love for you. That's our common ground. And then over time, and this is a testament to life. We learn the most about ourselves and we learn the most about each other through adversity. Anybody could be happy when we're winning. When shit's going your way, it's easy to be happy. It's easy to be positive. But when we're down, then you get to see the real sort of like flaws in somebody's personality. And then we either ask them to leave politely or we put them on a little bit of a timeout. My teeth looks nice. Yeah, Mike Ross. So shout out to Coach Tom Yankello. I spent my first 2 years of college in Pittsburgh. I went there to play baseball, University of Pittsburgh. Even though I'm a Northeast Ohio kid, Pittsburgh always has a place in my heart. I always say that Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is one of the America's best kept secrets. It is an absolutely stunning, beautiful, aesthetically pleasing city. It's one of the only cities in the world that sits on 3 rivers. So it's on a peninsula. It's called Point Park, and it sits on the Monongahela, the Ohio, and the Allegheny rivers. And because of that, you have more bridges in a certain square mile than I think it's top 3 in the world because all these bridges, and then they're famous for a specific style of bridge, a yellow sort of chain linked architectural half moon bridge style. And then also because the rivers in the late 1800s, early 1900s, there's a mountain here which is called Mount Washington, and they would farm the coal from the river, and they would use these rail cars going up and down Mount Washington to get them out of the water. And now those rail cars are used for public transportation, and Mount Washington has a fine dining restaurants, and you sit up there and you see the whole, I got goosebumps telling this story. You see the whole beautiful landscape. If ever you can, man, go to Pittsburgh in like the spring or the summer, or late summer, early fall to catch a Steeler game, or late summer, early fall to catch a Pirates game. One of the best stadiums in American in baseball. Russell didn't win that fight by 7. No, he didn't. I agree, Noah. Oh, that performance by Ryan, you see him competing with or potential. I rate Shakur. But that size might. Ryan at 147. We've never seen Shakur at 47, but I think if Shakur wants to be great, Shakur's what, 28 years old. He's won world titles at 126, 130, 135, and 140. He could fight Ryan at 47 to be a 5-division world champion before the age of 30. I like his odds. I like his odds. Subjoin, did you see the interviews both Ben and Eddie gave after Ben signed to Zuffa? Getting the news via lawyers, email, then refuse. Yeah, I know. But, both guys have historically treated people this way in separate instances. Boxing's a brutal game, guys. Business. I once managed a fighter from 2020 to 2022, pandemic, in which, looking back, I feel I was kind of used because in my network, I have a network of angel investors. Obviously, they were former clients and really well off, and all they do is travel and they look at little startups or grassroots passion projects to invest in, and they like doing it hands-on. And one of these guys did my first documentary. He invested in that. I told this story before. And then I got involved in this boxing gym. And so I had this boxer opportunities with money. She didn't have to do anything because I was getting logos and all that good stuff and getting partnership deals. But, without saying anything else, in those 2 years, year and a half, 3, 4 fights, I realized the dirtiness, the backstabbing. There are no friends in boxing business at all. They'll talk to you like they're your friend. They'll be big eyes and they'll act like they love you. And then no, it's only to get them to the next step, which, hey, dog eat dog world, lessons learned. I had to learn the hard way. Stand on business, my guy. Appreciate the super chat, brother. All-star super chats. I don't know where the comment section went. How confident Keneally over Perkins and why? I like Shay. I like her size. I like her class. I've watched her before. She's an Aussie. Perkins, a little bit older, a little bit flatter. I think Keneally's going to outwork her. And the chat just disappeared. But guys, we're 42 minutes in. How do I remove that? Hide that. Okay, here we go. The pay-per-view is only worth $25 if I... Yeah, so Barry, if you were in the Discord, shout out to the Mayweather in the Discord and shout out to, I forget who else it was. We had another great value to join our Discord is we stream all the fights in there. Atif should, yeah, that's where my money's at, Jay. I got Atif by knockout. I mean, in his opponent's claim to fame was losing a decision to the kid Raiko Santana. And Raiko Santana is the kid who fought Lester really well. He's coming off the awkward stoppage of Steven so-called Nelson. But then after that loss, he lost the decision. He took 3 years off, maybe 3.5 years. And then he had a 4-rounder. He's 36 years old now. I'm leaning on Atif based off of his coaching. I was talking about Pittsburgh. So Tom Yankello is a coach out of Pittsburgh. He was also Paulie Spatafora's coach, the Pittsburgh kid. So Tom Yankello is, just like the city of Pittsburgh, probably one of boxing's best kept secrets as a coach. He really knows his ins and outs. Strategy guy, skill guy. He has a good mind. He has a good boxing mind. And the way he talks about Oberton is he thinks he has one. This, a 6'3" southpaw, light heavyweight, 27 years old, 14-0, 12 knockouts. And they're getting this feature on a card on Dezurn. I heard he's going in, they're expecting big things from Oberton. Kind of a dark horse in the division. It's going to be interesting to see how he handles the vet. I think he's going to handle him well. I got Atif by stoppage as well. Hiroko reminded me of Shakur off his back foot. It looked to me, I would definitely not compare Hiroko to Shakur off the back foot, but it looked to me Hiroko, he had a much better understanding of his gas tank. I don't know if that makes sense to people. one of the knocks on Gary against Puello was that he kind of ran out of gas. Now, his output. And Hiroka throws everything into every shot. Gary's more of a, he's a combination puncher, which is beautiful to watch. When Gary's cooking, he's a joy to watch. It seemed to me he never got into his rhythm. And I think a lot of that had to do with Hiroka's intensity. And sometimes these little X factors, these variables that you're not going to see on BoxRec, sometimes these depict fights. And I'd like to talk to Gary. It looked to me Gary was probably caught by surprise. Hiroka's adjustment in the fourth, going from outside to the inside, and then Hiroka's determination. Nothing Gary hit Hiroka with looked like it hurt him. 5'11" and 140 is insane, and he carries his muscle well. It's not like he looked depleted, and he had 36 hours to acclimate to the Nevada desert. I lost a lot of Mario, but it was offset from a betting draw. All right, nice. You found it. You found a way to get a dub. Do you guys think Hiroka didn't come with jet lag that he would have beat GR? See, I don't know. Hiroka said he wasn't jet lagged. Who knows, man? When I lived in this is another thing that I'm just speaking facts here. When I lived in Vegas in 2011, and it's now 2026, so I'm sure this has evolved. There was a company in Vegas that you could dial up to your hotel room and bring IVs to your hotel room. So it was like a mobile hangover service. So IVs, rehydration, really popular with pilots and nurses and doctors who have to work like swing shifts, but also popular with like athletes, celebrities who travel a lot, public speakers who travel a lot but need to be switched on. So it could have just been he hit the liquid the intravenous IV rehydration. That's something that I don't know if it used to. Certain commissions say it's illegal. I'm not saying he did that. I would have though. If it's not illegal, I would have done it. Hiroka had stood his ground early and went to the bot. Yeah, and I think that's another great point is that, and this is why it's such a hard sport, because fighters, when Andy looks back on the tape, it's exactly what he's going to sell himself. It's the exact adjustment he would make. This is why I wanted to see the rematch between Lester and Billy that we're not going to see, because that fight ended in a draw. And Lester Martinez made a very similar sort of, not stylistically, but similar outcomes, obviously, with the draw, and a similar adjustment mid-fourth round, and a similar perspective. I feel like when that fight, if Lester and Christian fought again, Lester would have done what he did in the fourth or fifth. He would have did it in the first. And this is exactly what we're talking about. Hiroka would have started there. It was either obviously he was cautious with Gary's power, but he obviously felt or didn't feel something. He felt it and was like, you know what, I'm gonna stay right here. And what a brave, like, that's what fight fans want to see. We want to see that style. Purists of the sport want to see that style. What a brave decision to make. You know what I'm saying? It totally made the fight way more entertaining too. And that's a lot to deal with from Gary, though. Gary had having a fighter like that who's bigger than you, who has an aura about him, making that adjustment mid rounds. That's why his brother in the corner. His brother wasn't mincing words. Gary Russell Jr. physically assaulted him. After the fifth round, Gary Russell Jr. hit him on the head. I was like, damn, boy, you out here assaulting your brother. Navarrete has only struggled against non-Mexican opponents. Navarrete has dominated all Mexican opponents. Sugar. I don't know where I don't know yet, Julius. I don't know where I stand yet. I don't know where I stand yet with that fight. I know everybody's picking Sugar. I don't know where I stand yet. I'm most Tamir Small, Abel Ramos, small strains with boots. Tamir, there's some good fights. Abel Ramos known to upset. Abel not Ramos. Is the Discord the same? Those are two separate apps. So PJ, you're in both. The Discord is the community to where you guys are posting and we're streaming fights. The Patreon is a way to access. So before PJ, I only offered one way to access the Discord. The paywall was on YouTube to become a JSB. But now Patreon, it's its own thing too. Whichever way you join, you get access. GAL wanted a rematch playoff for good reasons. It'd be a badass rematch for Hiroka and playoff later down the road. How do we feel about the Emiliano and Vargas fight? It's a close fight. What did that pay? You did the first round knockdown. What were odds with that? What, plus 800? GK says he doesn't understand the Hiroka hype. Thought Gary won 10-2. Anybody want to attest to this? Anybody agree? 10-2 for GAR? 10-2. Wow. I thought it could have been 7-5, 8-4. Definitely GAR. What's up, Johnny? Rough start to the year. I'm going to be all right. Players mess up. We still good. Rough start to the year. We're on fire, kid. You'll get it back, though. Got it. Yeah, 8-4 seems right. Nice hit, man. Guys, I have, because it's my Monday, I have a client in about 8 minutes. So I have a client in 8 minutes. And then we have the fights, the Salida card starting on Dezurn in 1 hour. So I got to wrap it up, but I'll be in touch after the fights. Wherever you are in the world, good luck on your bets. If you're a JSB Insider, if you're in the Patreon, check both. You guys will have 4 live tickets. The short parlay is still live. The method of victory is still live. You have my long parlay that I posted in the Discord, and then for this fight, and then a 2-leg multi for this fight. All paying plus money. Let's get it.